Okay, I'm here with Amina.
Yes.
Amina, what's my name?
Tammin.
Like?
Salmon.
Yeah, could be Slammin.
Slammin', yeah. Or jammin'.
Jammin'.
Whichever.
Amina and I have become like BFFs in the last week.
Totally.
I'm so obsessed with what you stand for and what you believe in, and I'm super duper excited to have you here. And you are the lead head macho woman for your studio called Studio Muchi.
Yes, Studio Muchi,
Okay.
named after my name, Mucciolo.
And then you moved to Florida with how much in your pocket?
Well, so let me tell you,
Okay, I
we
can't
went
wait.
to Oklahoma because
Okay.
my husband was working on a PhD there.
Okay, which
And
is like way smarter than me.
Which is like, you live like a monk, like you have no money when you're trying to get a PhD.
Whoever has money, oh my god, unless you're born into money, like at
Yeah.
some point in your life, like you have no money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I like quit my job.
Yeah.
We like all quit our jobs and just moved there.
Yeah.
And I was kind of bored out of my mind.
Yeah. As you
And
would be.
because it's like
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma, but not even like Oklahoma City. It was like one Starbucks,
Oh god.
one Target kind of Oklahoma,
God.
you know? No Target actually is the city.
No Target?
No, the 2 Walmarts, no Target,
Nuh-uh.
one Starbucks. That's how we were rolling.
Okay.
So yeah, and basically
You're like, I'm done.
I was like, I just need to do something that is creative, that's fun.
Yeah.
And that's why I started my business there in Oklahoma.
And how old were you when you decided to do this? And you have to explain to all my followers what is this.
Okay.
Okay.
So I think I was. I'm asking my husband over here.
How old was I,
How old was
husband?
I? Was I 26?
He was like you were
maybe?
he was like you were 17, but let's not say
28?
anything. I mean, you were 18. You were 18. That's what my husband when he first met me. He's like, you're 18. I was actually like 19.
I think I was like 28 or something.
Yeah.
In my later 20s, basically.
Yeah.
But what I actually do, what my business is mostly known for, is Tassel garlands. They are.
What are tassel garlands other than what my
party
husband wears
decor.
to bed?
Basically, we are known for handmade party decor. So it's
So amazing.
yeah, it's really fun. It's like parties are really where we started because you know parties are everything, right? But honestly, now you can put them in your home. You can use them for like anything.
And you're really colorful. Your Instagram page, Studio Muchi, is really colorful and light and happy, but you haven't always felt that way, which I think a lot of you guys and I, especially in my life and even after having a baby, have felt pretty dark and had dark times in my life. So explain that to us. Like, what do you want to give back to everyone and to realize like what they can overcome?
Well, you know, it's funny when we talked about how I started Studio Muchi, because, you know, I was kind of like bearing the lead.
Yeah.
I was fresh out of treatment for my eating disorder.
Yeah.
I had been dealing with bulimia since I was 12. And so I was finally, you know, got into treatment because of my awesome husband and brother who were like,
you always need
you
like
gotta do something. Yeah, you totally.
You have to survive.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely. So it was really the thing that saved my life. So I went into treatment and I was just like, afterwards, for the first time, I started to ask myself like, what do you want to do to make yourself happy?
Yeah.
Forget about what other people think of you. Forget about pleasing your mom, going to college. Like, you know, I didn't go. Actually, I never went to college.
I didn't go to college.
Yeah, and
I'm a dumbass. I mean, you're not. I am.
Actually, we're pretty damn smart.
We're pretty smart.
Because
sometimes, like, there's an education that you can have, and also you can travel the world and have a different type of education.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. So I just started to ask myself, like, Amina, what do you want? What makes you happy? And the thing that made me the most happy is creating things.
And don't you think sometimes when you do something that's bigger than you, your whole life changes?
Absolutely.
I realize that, and I see a lot of people in my life who are doing things that are very self-gratifying, and their lives are pretty stagnant. Like, they're not going anywhere, because like if you're just trying to put yourself out there constantly, but there's not for a greater good or a greater message, then I think what happens is like it's almost like the universe pays you back for that, you know?
Yeah.
And like nothing really changes.
How do you keep? I don't know how people who are doing that keep going.
Yeah.
Because honestly, if I didn't get the feeling of knowing that, like, just by me putting myself out there, that I'm like helping other girls who have been
You're
through what I've
saving
been
lives,
through,
you know?
and just be like putting my face out there. I'm plus size. I'm black. I look like a
You're
bag
plus
of
size,
Skittles.
you're black, and you're
You know.
that's awesome!
Yeah, and there's so many girls out there who look like me or who relate to me who don't have a voice.
Exactly.
And so just by being out there, I know that I'm giving something to them. And obviously, like, talking about all of the mental health things. Yeah. It's like, that's what keeps me going when I don't want to get out of bed, honestly.
I know. And some days, I mean, we started Bottle and Heels, so I did because I had such bad postpartum anxiety and I felt so alone, and I was like, how do we start a community and a network of women where we can talk about these things and not feel alone, because in this day and age we don't have the aunts and the uncles and all these people to help with having children, so like you just feel lost, you know. And I was like, I need to talk about it, and when you start to talk about it, everything changes.
She wants to know where you draw your inspiration from for everything that you do.
Like, mostly life. Honestly, I agree, yes. Tammin. I get inspired by so much. But honestly, really the thing that inspires me are like things from my childhood. Mm-hmm. I think that was one of the best times of my life. It was such a pure time before things kind of got crazy. Yeah. And so I keep going back to that. Yeah. You know, you have to go through something. Yeah. Some defining thing, right?
And that's why you see people who aren't really changing and growing, and you realize like they've never really had to struggle. I do believe if you struggle, you become more empathetic, you become more compassionate, you become a better person in a way.
That adversity, man.
Yeah. And I definitely hit rock bottom sort of 6 months after my daughter was born, and I just didn't want to get out of bed, and I think that that's why my life is changing.
See?
You know?
Yeah. Wow.
And I hit my top right naked.
You're too sweet.
She's like, stop touching me, you weirdo!
What advice do you have for people who deal with anxiety?
Who's that to?
You take that. I have no freaking idea.
I think you have to realize that anxiety is an emotion, that it passes, you know? And look, I've always been an anxious person, and I just have to realize that moment will pass. Everything passes. Feelings are very, they move and they change and they bend and they break, and you won't be feeling that forever. And then I think some tools that I've found great is meditation.
That's really nice.
Is exercise, is yoga, is kind of just grounding yourself. You know, even like for severe anxiety, they do tapping. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. There's a lot of different tools, and also what you put in your body. If you're putting, you know, sugar and lots of meat and lots of caffeine and lots of alcohol, you'll be more anxious.
Totally.
So it's like, you know, the more like wishy yogi. And that's why I kind of went vegan as well, because like, you know, there's so many stimulants in some of the meats and stuff that we're eating, and we think that like, you know, it's so great to eat all this meat because of all this paleo stuff, but it's like, I just think in my head, like, butter and steak or a salad with a bit of butternut squash, like, mentally, I think that's just health is on the right, and that doesn't seem healthy on the left. You know?
My husband and I were in Oklahoma. That was one thing that we actually recommitted to being vegetarian. Yeah. And my husband actually was, like, the one kind of starting it as a guy who, he's over here, I'm talking about him.
That's kind of sexy.
Who has, like, been, you know, raised on, you know, like meat, you know, it was really important for me to support, you know, support that, and it changed our lives in such a positive way. Actually,
and you start to get rid of toxic. Like I've gotten rid of a few people in my life because it just was toxic, and it's like getting rid of like food that's toxic in a way. You get rid of all your surroundings that are toxic as well.
Someone wants to know, what is your biggest hope for Phoenix?
You know, it was such a struggle in the first couple of years with her because she was just a little bit of a spirited, aka difficult child. And she's turned into this magnificent human being. Like, 3 hit and she became this like awesome little person. It was almost like all her frustration about not being able to communicate kind of went away because now she can communicate. And we kind of give her choices, and we are led by her. So we don't say like, you must do this. She doesn't like to be in a ballet class and be pointing her toes with everyone. So we get her into a class which is very, it's whatever she wants to do, you know, so she can have a voice. And my biggest hope for her is to be happy, of course. But is to like, and I know this is like such a big thing to put on a kid, but is even in a small way to make an impact in the world. Whether it's through art or creativity or just who she is as a person or what she stands for. I want to instill her with a lot of courage and with a lot of power. Like, women are so powerful, you know. And it's funny because some people say, like, I'm not a feminist. It's like, well, you do believe in equality. Like, everyone should get paid the same for doing the same job, and women should be able to vote, right? And you should be able to decide what you do with your body. So it's like, kind of everyone's a feminist unless you want to be paid less and you want to, like, not vote, and unless, like, you want someone else to say, like, oh, don't wear that bra, wear that bra. Like, so everyone is. So it's like such a weird, like, dirty word. But yeah, I just want to I want her to feel powerful, you know, and I think her voice matters. You're at the march, right?
Yes, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have OCD, I have anxiety, I have so many problems with crowds and people and dirt and the streets of downtown LA, which I live there. So let's talk about that later.
Yeah.
But the first few minutes, I was really freaking out. So, like, maybe I'll die here, or
this is my place of death. In the Women's March.
But after a few minutes, it just all kind of like floated away, and I just was in the moment with so many people, and there was just so much love. I'm gonna like cry talking about
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, it was so
millions of people all over
amazing.
the world. And I think, look, some people are for Trump, some people are against Trump. What I think needs to be said is that this was a women's march.
Yeah.
This was a march where women got together and said, we matter.
Absolutely.
And, like, to make this about a fight event against, like, this is not what I stand for, well, we do. We all stand for coming together as women and saying, I love you. I love you. We're different. We're so different, but I want you to be successful. You want me to be successful.
Absolutely.
And it's about, like,
I want what's best for your
yes,
children.
Exactly. I want what's best for your children.
Yeah,
and I think with saying, like, it doesn't represent me as a female, well, what female doesn't want to support other women and say, like, we matter? Thank you so much for being here. I want you to stay in our lives if possible. Don't be a stranger. And I think, like, we should figure out a movement, like Tammin and Amina. Wait, we should be called Muchi Tammin.
Muchi
Tamina. Ooh, Tamina. I think we should have our own reality show.
Totally.
I think people would like us. Well, thank you so much, guys, for watching Bottom of Heels Live. And we love you, and I love you. And
thank you for having me.
thank you so much.
Yes.
Bye.